Okay, let's go ahead and figure out the answer to this nice little fraction problem here. And if we notice, obviously we are dealing with a fraction, but the numerator itself is a fraction, and down here in the denominator, we're going to actually get a fraction as well. So we have a fraction that's made up of fractions. These type of fractions are called complex fractions, but don't let that word kind of confuse you, complex. Certainly don't let it intimidate you. See if you can do this problem. Put your calculator away. It's not going to be necessary. Don't run to your calculator, especially when you're dealing with fractions. Oftentimes that makes things more complex. And more importantly, you need to know how to do fractions without the aid of a calculator. So if you could do this problem, go ahead and put your answer into the comment section. I'm actually going to show you the correct answer in just 1 second. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you the step-by-step solution to figure out this complex fraction problem. But before we get started, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is John. I'm the founder of TC Math Academy. I'm also a middle and high school math teacher. I have been teaching math for decades, and I want to help you be as successful as possible in mathematics. So if you need help in your current math course or maybe some sort of special test that you're getting ready for that has math on it, I'm talking about things like the GED, SAT, maybe a teacher certification exam, or if you're homeschooling mathematics, check out my Math Help program. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description of this video. I promise it will make learning math much, much easier. I'm also going to leave links to my math notes in the description as well. You absolutely need notes to be successful in math. You should be taking your own notes, but you can use my notes in the meantime if you like as you improve your notes. And if this video helps you out, don't forget to like and subscribe, as that definitely helps me out. Okay, so we got 4 and 1/2 divided by 1 plus 1/3. This is a basic example or kind of a basic level complex fraction problem. But let's go ahead and take a look at the answer right now. The answer is 27/8. Okay, 27/8. How did you do? Well, if you got this right, let's go ahead and celebrate by giving you a nice little happy face and A plus, a 100%, and a few stars so you can tell your friends and family that you know a thing or two about complex fractions. Outstanding. Okay, so again, this word complex, it could be intimidating, right? Oh, complex fractions. Somebody out there already think just regular fractions are complex enough. Here's the thing. If you are struggling with fractions, you really need to just kind of, start from the beginning, okay? Because fractions are so, so important. And oftentimes when students are struggling in something, it's because they didn't get the foundational knowledge down, they really didn't learn the basics well enough. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So if you need help with fractions, as we continue on here, let me give you 3 quick suggestions. One, I have a ton of additional videos on fractions on my YouTube channel. And two, I have 2 courses that you might be interested in. My pre-algebra course and my math foundations course. You can find those at my website, but those will definitely help you learn fractions. But let's go ahead and get into this problem. So here we have 4 and 1/2 divided by 1 plus 1/3. So what do we want to do here? Well, we have mixed number fractions. You always want to take your mixed numbers and write them as improper fractions. So 4 and 1/2 is the same thing as 9/2. So remember to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction. By the way, I'm using these terms, mixed number, improper fraction, and proper fraction. So if you have a fraction like 1/4, where the denominator is bigger than the numerator, like in this case here, this is a proper fraction. Now, if you have a fraction where the numerator is larger than the denominator, like 9/2, this is an improper fraction. And improper fractions you can convert into mixed numbers by simply dividing the numerator by denominator. Now, what we want to do here is convert this mixed number into an improper fraction. So remember the way we do that is you're going to take this 2 multiplied by 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9, so you have 9/2. So again, these are all kind of foundational concepts of fractions. Hopefully this was not a problem for you, but if you're confused on this, again, you're going to have to do whatever review is necessary. All right, so we got 4 1/2, that's equal to 9 and 1/2, and now we have 1 plus 1/3. Well, 1 plus 1/3 is the same as the fraction 1 and 1/3. So let's go ahead and write this fraction 1 and 1/3 right now as an improper fraction. Okay, so here's our 9 halves. That is our numerator, and then 1 and 1/3 as an improper fraction. Of course, this is a mixed number. We want to write that as an improper fraction. It's going to be 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1, that is going to be 4/3. Okay, so this is the problem that we have right now. So this is the numerator, okay, and we're dividing it by this denominator right here. So remember, when you're dealing with fractions, the fraction bar in and of itself is the division operator. Okay, so you could substitute this fraction bar with this symbol. So let's go ahead and do that right now, as that's basically what we're going to need to do to take this problem to the next step. So here, 9 halves divided by, or 9 halves over 4/3 is the same thing as 9 halves divided by 4/3. So let's go and write it this way. 9 halves, this fraction bar is the same thing as the division operator. So 9 halves divided by 4/3. Okay, so now we're dealing with basic number operations with fractions. So 9 halves divided by 4/3. Let's go ahead and see how we take care of this. All right, so how do you divide fractions? Well, the main idea is we don't really divide fractions. What we need to do is change the problem into a multiplication problem. So we have 9 halves divided by 4/3. We're going to change this into a multiplication problem. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to flip the fraction to the right of the division symbol. Okay, so in other words, you're going to find what we call the reciprocal. It's basically just going to flip it upside down. So when I flip 4/3, I'm going to end up with 3/4. Okay, but when I do that, I'm also going to change that division to multiplication. Okay, so make sure you understand this. Again, this is all basic foundational fraction knowledge. But hey, listen, if you don't understand this, matter of fact, if you don't understand this, I think that's good news. You might be saying to yourself, what are you talking about, Mr. YouTube Math Man? Well, what I'm saying is you've identified an area that you're weak in. I mean, a big part of learning math is to identify what areas you know and don't know. Okay, so if you're like, oh, I don't get that, I don't get this, well, make a little list, and then, obviously you want to, start working on that. But I'm going to really encourage you to kind of get into some formal instruction, because another big mistake that math students do is they try to learn a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. That's not the way to do things. You want to kind of get in some sort of formal instruction, i.e. like a course, so it's done in a correct chronological manner. In other words, when you're talking about fractions, you got to learn this first, and then this second, and this third, etc., etc. It's going to make things much, much easier. All right, so let's go ahead and finish up this problem. So we have 9 halves times 3/4. Now, I want you to notice that I've been writing my fractions with this angled fraction bar. So typically, I don't write fractions this way, but a lot of people do. There's nothing wrong with writing your fractions as with this angled fraction bar, but just as long as you know that you can write the same problem this way. So 9 halves. Now here I'm using kind of a horizontal straight fraction bar. I prefer to write my fractions this way because here we're going to actually have to multiply across the numerator and denominators, but either way is perfectly fine. So if you write your fractions with this angled fraction bar, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But again, just know that these are equivalent and one is not better than the other. I just prefer to write my fractions this way because to figure out what 9 halves times 3/4 is going to be equal to, what we need to do is multiply the respective numerators and denominators. And when I have this nice little straight fraction bar like this, that angle doesn't get in the way, but that's just me. So 9 times 3 is 27. That's our numerator. And then 2 times 4 is 8. That is our denominator. And here is the final answer. Of course, you always want to see if you can reduce your answers. This particular fraction cannot be simplified or reduced. And what you do not need to do is turn this into a mixed number, okay? Do not volunteer and say, oh yeah, I'm going to turn this into a mixed number. In other words, take 27 divided by 8. I would not do that, okay, on a quiz, test, etc., unless your teacher specifically ask you to do that. Because here's what I've seen happen countless times through the decades. A student will have the correct improper fraction answer. They'll be like, Oh, that's so good. And then they'll turn this into a mixed number and make an error, and then they'll give this fraction with the mixed number with the error to the teacher. And unfortunately, the teacher's got to take out points, and then you got a very, upset math student. They're like, "Hey, what happened? But I had the right answer here." So listen, when you watch my videos, I'm really going to try to break things down, but I'm also going to try to give you really kind of important test taking tips that you're not going to find in a test or a textbook, or even some teachers won't even tell you this. Okay, so I'm just giving you experience from years and years and years of teaching mathematics. Okay, so fractions are what I would call non-negotiable when it comes to mathematics. Put your calculator away, master fractions. If you've been struggling with fractions, so many people do. I'm telling you right now, it won't take you too long to, learn fractions correctly, but you got to get great math instruction. So, if this little video helped you out, don't forget to like and subscribe. And with that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your mathematics adventures. Thank you for your time and have a great day.